guys, this is Midget and welcome to another episode of my Walking Dead reviews. Today we're reviewing episode 10 called Inmates, and this episode was really not a great episode in my opinion. It was an alright episode, but I really didn't enjoy it. You could really tell there was a different director rather than Greg Nicotero, who edited the last one. It was absolutely phenomenal. This one was really slow paced. It was so, it was just boring. In all fairness, it was boring. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna try, say, but it had this. It was boring. It started off with Beth and having a voiceover like she was talking to a to a dad. I missed the first minute, so I didn't get it. But then an hour later, I watched it again because it's on Fox. It's on once and then it's on again. So I watched it the second time through instead, and she was talking to a diary, and she's speaking like to her dad, of course, and she's talking about the prison. She woke up in her own bed, blah blah blah, stuff like this. She felt like she was safe, and then I didn't know what she was running away with Daryl, but it was kind of weird. Then she actually believes that everybody's still alive, unlike Daryl when they're at that campfire. They're like, Daryl's just there sad, miserable, and she's like, I believe that we can find them, and she eventually gets really mardy and runs off and goes, I can find them himself, and Daryl decides to follow her, because obviously she he doesn't want to be by himself, and he wants to protect her because he treats her like his own sister. And Daryl starts tracking down something. We know it's Tyreese because later on the berries, it's like squished berries, and then later on in the episode Tyreese runs over some berries and it clearly points it out when the camera moves down onto the berries. But that's basically it, and Beth almost gets bitten when they go down that path, when she turns around and the walker comes up behind her. But there's an amazing kill of the week where Daryl goes like that to his crossbow. He can't fire it. He chucks it on the floor, grabs the walker, 180s, and gets Beth to, bloody put a knife through its skull, and it was absolutely amazing, that kill. I loved it to bits. So that really good teamwork kill, and then it switches to then they go on the railroad, and they go on the railroad, and Beth starts crying at a random shoe. I don't know if it's somebody's shoe. I don't predict it is, because no one was there unless we don't know of, because clearly the only person that was actually that close to the walkers was Tyreese, and everyone else sort of went round, so that no one could drop a shoe unless we've not seen somebody, which we definitely have, in my opinion. Sorry about that. So I don't get it, but it's just a Tyreese's group. It's night and Judith's crying, so, and what's her name, little Mika gets scared because Judith's crying really loud, and she hears someone approaching, so she shouts something, and like Tyreese gets scared, and he goes, we better go, He's not firing his weapon because remember, he's not very good with his weapon. I just remembered that during the episode. It's really funny. So in the morning, Tyreese has Tyreese helps the people that are like getting almost get bitten, where Mika hears a walker again and she runs off into the woods, where after Lizzie and Tyreese are changing Judy's diaper, she runs off into the woods, and then basically she waits for them, and Tyreese says she did a good thing. He has a little argument with Lizzie, who thinks it was the completely wrong thing to do, but Tyreese reassures her, and then he's screaming, so he puts them back to back, and says this is how you're gonna see 360 degrees every single direction, basically. So he runs off and he goes, if you see a walker, run off to my direction, and you can already tell the walkers are going to come because there's camera angles from the trees, there's stuff like that. So, and eventually you see walkers come, and Lizzie's holding the baby and she starts smothering it for some weird reason. The baby's crying, so she's like suffocating the baby. At one point I thought she was actually going to suffocate it, where the baby where the baby was like, she's doing that to the baby, and the baby goes like grabs her hand. I thought she was going to suffocate it then. She was like, no mercy, and you can see that she really has no mercy. So basically I really do think, or at least 70% sure that Carol did not kill Karen David, it was Lizzie, and Carol's just backing up for her, but never mind. And then they go back to the railroad where Tyreese, helps the people fight off the walkers, and the son dies, and then Tyreese almost dies, but when Mika fires that shot, Tyreese turns around and there's a walker behind him, so it was kind of an indicator, sort of, coincidental indicator, and then the guy gets bitten basically, and Lizzie or Mika say Tyreese, and Tyreese turns around, and who's there? Goddamn Carol. Return of the King. Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi. Okay. Return of the Jedi, and Carol returns, and she's become more of a bitch, not in a bad way, but she's become more hard. That just sounds wrong on so many reasons, but she's really hardened, isn't she? She doesn't tell Tyreese anything. She doesn't give too much facial expression. She doesn't give too much sympathy for people, but the man that got bitten, the person that goes I made a huge mistake, tells them to go down the railroad, and they'll go to this safe haven basically. So they do as they're told, and then after the next commercial break, basically what happens is they find the sanctuary, survivors are let in, and no one gets out or something like that. So, they go to there, and we don't see what happens then, and then all of a sudden, we see Maggie sharpening a knife, and Sasha bandaging up Bob after he got, shot in the chest, well not chest, the shoulder area, when it was the thingy, the prison thingy, episode 8, sorry. So Sasha says they should stay there camp overnight, but Maggie strongly disagrees, and she says she will go to find that bus and find Glenn, basically, aka the bus. But Sasha doesn't think it's a good idea, and she says she can't go alone, but Maggie insists she will go alone, and she ends up going alone, but they follow her, and then she finally finds the bus, which is just, how, there's so many ways the bus could have gone. I guess they could have made a plan, but there's so many ways the bus could have gone. It went the exact same way that Maggie went, it's just not, that's just weird to me, Maggie, and then she finally finds the bus, and, everybody on the bus is a walker, so they make up a plan, basically, saying, they'll let one walker out one by one, and Maggie will kill him and check the faces just in case Glenn's a walker, but she clears the whole one after a little problem where they couldn't contain all the walkers, and every walker spilled out, and they helped Maggie, and at one point I thought it was going to bite Maggie, because she went full Rick 1 minute, when he lost Laurie, he was she did that, and then she stood in the middle of the walkers, and she zoomed in on her legs and feet, and, well, not feet, because, yeah, she zoomed in on her legs, and, there was this one walker that was, right next to her, so I thought that walker was just gonna go, and bite her, but it didn't, luckily, because she's fit, calling, and then, she goes into the bus to check if Glenn's, dead, or he's one of the walkers that have, been bitten and literally eaten by the other walkers, but she doesn't find Glenn, and Glenn is still at the prison. He just wakes up after we see that after Maggie's crying, when she couldn't find Glenn, so she really cries, and then Glenn wakes up at the prison, there's loads of walkers, so he gets the light and goes downstairs, puts on his suit from under his bed, and holds Maggie picture between his palms like that, and he prays or something, or asks God, just I don't know, and he starts crying to Maggie's picture, right? And then he goes off and he meets Tara, and he doesn't say a word, so he walks past, and then he finally talks to her. I don't understand, how that works, because I don't think they know each other. I don't know they know each other, so it was Governor's men, so why didn't he kill her? Why didn't he have any empathy for her, what? I didn't quite get that bit, but, basically then, Glenn says he needs her help, and she'll get out, she just needs to go first, and he'll keep her covered, and she does as she's told, basically, and then, when they finally get out of the prison, she's Glenn's he needs to find Maggie. She's like, who's Maggie? Then, she's my wife, blah blah blah, and Then later on, they go further down the road, and they go to the same place that Maggie was on the road that, like next to the, what's it called, the bus. It says inmates, hitchhike inmates or something like that. I'm not sure. And then walkers start to come on. So Glenn goes to beat them up, and finally faints, and Tara takes care of the walkers, and kills the last few. And then she turns around and starts talking normally to people. She just turns around and goes, thanks for your help, sarcastically. And then the new characters, Abraham, Eugene and Rosita, in their badass tank, and I think it's Abraham that says like, you've got one hell of a mouth or something, I can't remember, something along those lines. So she might know them because, it wasn't like she went, who the hell are you? It was more like, friends, like, yeah, cheers for helping, bro. So we don't know that yet, we don't know what's going to happen, but that's how it ends. So, this episode wasn't that good, basically, if I had to, like, sum it up in 3 words, sentences, phrases, no character development, little intensity, little bit of action, and it was just terrible in my opinion. Terrible. As I said before, you could tell it was a different director directing the episode instead of Greg Nicotero, because Greg Nicotero is very experienced, he knows how to make a good episode, and this person, I forgot the name, was just not good enough in my opinion. He's not Walking Dead material. I love the way that Carolyn returns though. She just returns randomly, you know what I mean? But then she does say, I didn't know how she returned, but she does like briefly mention that she saw the prison, get over around that the last bit. And then she followed them there. So basically, I love the way she lied about Rick, so it's going to be weird when everybody meets up, which I presume will be around the last episode of season 4, or like a couple of episodes in season 5, which is definitely confirmed. And basically, I love the way she lies about Rick. She says Rick took the car and she just made her way back, because when they're gonna meet Rick, it's gonna be really awkward between the two. Carol's hopefully gonna stay this time. But yeah, so it was a boring episode and an episode to miss. That's why I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. And yeah, so another episode is coming next week on Monday for me, so I'll have the review up on Tuesday. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. This is Midget, and I'm going to see you guys next time.